Hi, everybody. It's meteorologist Joe Chaffee. Going to look at the nighttime GFS, which apparently has put the snow threat for Tuesday back on the table to some degree. And we're going to take you through this. And I have this North Atlantic view so that you can watch the possible subtropical system. You can watch the block develop, and you can watch what's going on for us with regards to the Saturday event. This is the trough involved, and you can see it extends from central Canada all the way down into the Gulf states, and it begins to lift up, and we're going to get rain out of this. We probably will get a pretty decent shot of rain. I'm thinking we could get easily an inch, maybe some spots could get 1.5 inches of rain out of this push, this pretty strong little disturbance that lifts up and around the main trough, which is still out to the west. It doesn't quite phase until it's past us. And then at the same time, here's our subtropical system that moves into the central Atlantic and helps to build this massive ridge up toward Greenland, which by a lot of measures from the indices that were put out today, this could wind up being one of the strongest blocks we've ever seen. Now, the last several runs of the GFS and the European kind of flattened this trough out. Now, this is the one for approaching for Tuesday, but tonight's run has suddenly made it more vigorous. I'm just wondering whether the disturbance is getting amplified by everything else that's going on. And what winds up happening is that it digs much more than what the prior runs were showing. So you have this pretty strong trough here. The issue is the fact that the trough probably digs a little too late to cause anything other than a minor event. But, you want to watch this, because if it's a little bit further to the west and a little deeper, it could mean something more. I still think at the end of the day, we're talking about maybe a minor event if it breaks right. And then that lifts up. And then, of course, now you have this massive block all across Greenland and extending back into the Arctic, setting us up for what looks like a powerhouse system that's coming out of the southwest for later next week. The European and the GFS kind of keying on this for next weekend. But you know what? Let's not even worry about that now or talk about it too much, because that's far enough down the road that who knows what's going to happen. But I'm going to switch over to the surface map and show you what it does on this run, because it is kind of what I was thinking, where my thinking was with this a few days ago when it first came on the scene. So let's back up, and this is the surface map. A little cold air drains down from New England by Friday night into Saturday morning. Even though there's very little precip involved, and then there really isn't too much with regards to what's produced on Saturday. But you can see here's a deepening low that winds up now going into western Pennsylvania instead of Chicago, so it's much further east than what was originally indicated. That's probably in response to all that blocking that's developing in the crashing North American Oscillation Index. That's what measures how strong the block is, and it's going to go fiercely negative late next week. So that goes by, and now you can see here's that next low with that powerhouse upper air trough that we showed you before. Now what happens on this particular run is that you see how the isobars begin to stretch here. So there's a front that comes down here, and a wave begins to develop virtually on top of us. And the model does produce some light snows down through New Jersey, eastern Pennsylvania, through upstate New York, and then as it deepens the low in the Gulf of Maine, it has some throwback snows. Who knows if this is real or not? Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But you want to watch this in case it winds up being a little deeper and a little further left. If the secondary low here winds up starting out, somewhere down in Delaware, it might give you some time for a cheap thrill, or maybe a little bit more than that. And then as we move down the road, it gets very cold for much of next week. Behind that, Wednesday and Thursday look to be very, very cold days. And then we're going to move on. And here comes that powerhouse from the south. And at the same time, the model begins to build high pressure across the border into Canada, into the northeast, and it doesn't show a whole lot of cold air. The prior run showed a pretty vigorous low. This one, you can see how it redevelops just offshore. Who knows how this is going to play, but there's a lot of things happening with regards to the blocking and all the other players in all of this. So this is for down the road, as I said. Again, my main issue is going to be whether this is real or not. Are we dealing with something that is going to be sharp and dig a little bit further to the west to give us a cheap thrill, or maybe something a little bit more than that? As far as Sunday is concerned, we do have, I'm going to just go backwards here, and you can see once again, this is for, looks like rain comes in here, starts to come in here after midnight Saturday night, rain Sunday morning into Sunday afternoon, and then the rain ends. Some of that rain is heavy, and then it turns cold behind it, and then we wait for this system to move on through to bring in even colder air along about Wednesday, Thursday, and probably into Friday. So a lot to ponder over the next couple of days. I'll write up a post about all this to summarize. And in the meantime, for Friday, tomorrow we'll have some sun giving way to arriving clouds with temperatures probably no higher than the lower 40s because of the onshore flow that's going to develop and some of that colder air that's going to drain down from New England. So have yourselves a good day and a good weekend, and we will, of course, keep you updated on all the latest developments.